This interview is brought to you by Baked and Packaged by Anne Menzo. For all your bakery within the UK, Europe and Ghana, call Anne on 078-282-44129.
Greetings, wherever you're watching us. My name is Caleb. I don't believe you've seen the woman that I'm about to speak with today. You might have seen her face on your phone through social media, but today I'm here for in-depth. Edith, what is her name? Hi, Edith. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Why am I even welcoming you in your own home?
Welcome to my house.
Thank you very much. It's been a long journey, but finally we are here.
Exactly.
What's a day? Weekend is almost here.
Yeah. It's been quite a busy week as usual with work, children, their football rounds. Yeah, so definitely looking forward to a break over the weekend.
I see. Should one ask you who is Edith, what would you tell the person?
Yeah, that's quite a deep question. But I think the first thing that comes out of me is I'm a mother of 3 amazing children whom I love so much. I'm very dedicated to anything that it is about them. So I'm kind of enjoying seeing them grow and then develop their passions. So the 2 boys, for example, they play football, and my daughter is in love with gymnastics. But them aside, talking about me, I'm a very driven person. Like anything I set my mind into, I put my everything, my passion into it, and because I like to succeed in my plans, in everything that I do. I personally, I work in a corporate board. I'm a senior manager for a medical company. So I enjoy that a lot because I enjoy being in an environment where I know that what I'm doing is helping other people as well. So that's the environment that I'm working on. And overall, I'm a very positive person. I don't like to surround myself with many people, but just a few and quality ones. Majority of my friends are childhood friends, and we're still very close. And although we are kind of living in different continents, we're still very close. And then I keep them very tight. Yeah.
Listening to you describing yourself is even difficult because there's so many parts of you that we are yet to actually explore. But let's look a bit about your upbringing, where you were born, where you grew up, and then life in the UK.
Yeah. So I was born in Ghana.
Oh, in the Ghana,
I was born in.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are you speaking Ghanaian English, or you are speaking another English that I'm yet to?
Well, I'm a mixture.
Okay.
I'm a multicultural mixture. So I was born in Ghana, but I moved to Italy at a very young age, between 4 and 5, and I grew up in Italy. So with my mom, and I did as well moved to the US for a couple of years, went to high school there. So you might hear a bit of an accent, an accent there. Then went back to Italy again, and then I've been living in the UK for the past 14 years, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. So do you recall life in Italy? And I want to start with Italy because living Ghana at age 4 or 5, I'm sure there wouldn't be much memories to recall. But let's start with Italy. Do you recall life in Italy?
Yeah, I think if I need to go deep, Italy. Growing up in Italy, it felt like I was in an environment where I had to constantly prove and explain myself, or kind of fit into a culture. So we're talking about late 80s, early 90s, in an Italian environment where there were few blacks.
Okay.
So as I was growing up, you get kind of, you face some challenges where you're in the minority, the black person, racism as well. So I felt like I grew up in a constant battle with society, or with the society around me, into trying to fit in into a culture.
Was there a point you felt this isn't your place? I said, being in a minority with all these Italians who, at the time, I don't know for now if they are now welcoming blacks to their country, or live happily with them. But as a football enthusiast, one player I know who suffered this thing a lot in Italy is Balotelli, and I read most of the times the way, even when he had donned the Italian jersey, they still came out at him. They sometimes chant at him. So, did you at a point felt that Italy is not for me?
I don't think I've ever had that thought personally. What I think was constant in me is trying to fit in. I wanted to be them. And I'll tell you a story about and I remember that vividly, when my mom actually took me from Ghana to Italy. We were on a flight, and that was my first kind of experience of being surrounded by only white. So I asked my mom, if I eat this food, will I become white as well? So, and I think she took it as a laugh, and in a way to make me eat it, she was like, yeah. So I think in my mind, I don't know, now I wouldn't kind of see it as a positive thing, but in my mind I've always wanted to fit in. So that was more, I never thought about, oh, this place is not for me. I wanted to make it for me.
Right. Now let's move to the USA. Which states were you? Which high school? Any fond memories in the States?
Yes, my teenage years. So I went to Hartford, Connecticut, to Conard High School. It was great. I made loads of friends there. Maybe there I struggle a bit to fit in because the schooling system in the US is quite different from the Italian one. Felt like the Italian one was a bit more structured, whereas the US was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit different from what I was used to during my upbringing and all. And then obviously I kind of went there mid-year as well, okay. And then made kind of terms, so it was a bit difficult to settle in. But I did make quite good friends with whom I'm still in contact now. Yeah.
Should you get the opportunity to choose between these 4 countries that you've been, well, now you're in the UK, so
yeah.
but should another opportunity come again and you don't want to choose among these 4 countries?
Well, I will say England now, because that's where I've grown, right. Where I've kind of put all my roots now. Okay. But I do have a, soft spot for Italy, because I grew up there. Through I think the challenges and whatever I went through as I was growing up, they built me and they made me the strong woman that I am right now. I see. So although, yes, it was challenging, there was racism, there was trying to fit in, and a whole lot of other challenges growing up with a single mother. But I think it made me who I am. And now as an adult, I appreciate that as well, that experience.
And when I was actually preparing for this interview, a little bird told me you participated in Miss Ghana Italy.
Oh my God. How did you hear that? That was 2005 or 2006. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the first Miss Ghana in Italy. Yeah.
I was told you were, was it the second runner-up?
Yeah, second runner-up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Miss Ghana Italy. Hey, hard. I'm still digging to find some of the photos.
Oh, you won't find them. It was pre-social, thankfully.
Social media wasn't our friend those days.
It was the times of the High Five and MySpace.
Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah.
How was the experience like at the Miss Ghana Italy?
To be honest with you, I had even forgotten. I think it was nice. I think it was the first time I was actually exposed to something culturally Ghanaian, my culture. So, growing up in Italy, you're kind of in an Italian environment a lot of times. So it was kind of an opportunity for me to showcase something. within my community, and I enjoyed it. Actually, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So why don't you get people to know that you did all this? Because it's quite on the low. I mean, if I hadn't dug a bit more, I wouldn't have actually heard this before Gordon.
No.
Before Gordon, man, I've kept this so low that I can hit my chest and say, out of 10, just 2 people actually know this of you.
Yeah, and my family maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's not something, I don't know. I mean, it's nice, but I don't like to show off in terms of that. I think that there are more important things, so I'll rather talk about my aspiration, my career, my current life. That was, a little snippet or a little kind of parentheses along the way. I don't relate, but I did enjoy that. Yeah.
Okay, but your kids, are they aware?
I don't know.
You haven't told them?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever told them.
Wow.
No, I don't think they know, actually. And please don't go dig out anything, any video. It's not.
Are they ever going to watch this interview?
My children?
Yeah.
Well, I think they've seen the preview. It was quite, now thinking about it, I went on wrongly. So at that time I used to do dancing. Okay. So did a bit of ballet, modern dance and everything. So as a Ghanaian, I went to a Miss Ghana in Italy show, and my performance was a kind of a modern dance. So it wasn't really showcasing nothing, nothing culturally. So right then, back then, that was what I enjoyed doing. But now I'm like, why would you go on a Miss Ghana, in Italy, and then do something that is not completely, it's not Ghanaian at all?
How about is it Piti or Sekiti? What they call it?
I have no idea what you've said now.
How about Azonto?
Azonto, yeah, I say Azonto. Azonto is
Azonto is what?
Is Azonto?
Azonto is what?
It's a dance.
Yes. So, are you familiar with Azonto?
Oh yeah.
You are.
I'm very familiar.
I see. Okay. Anyway, life in the UK, how easy or difficult has it been?
It is difficult in the sense that it's very structured. Mm-hmm. It's all about work, and there is little room for fun. Mm-hmm. At least my world that I've created. Mm-hmm. So everything is quite structured, work, and then I have the kids' commitment as well. So as a mother, so it is okay. It's good, but yeah, it's quite structured and rigid. So that's the only thing that, if I could change something, I would like to have the work-life balance that okay. I think I could get in Italy, but here.
Oh, okay, so you don't get the Italian life here. Oh, I see. I see. So if you're not getting it here, how about relocate there? I mean, so at least you can have some good time, or because of the kids.
To be honest with you, I think, I don't know, maybe one day I could relocate, but I think I enjoy England anyway. My roots are here right now in terms of work. Work is going on well. The children as well are quite settled as well. Right. So maybe one day, yes.
Sure.
Sure.
I look at this wall and I see lots of creatives. Are you a creative?
I call it the iconic wall. You can see they're all icons.
Yeah. There's one who is actually mine too, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the great icons. I was quite torn though. I think at some point I wanted to change it and make it maybe a mirrored wall.
Okay.
But it's still, I don't know, there's something about it that it is striking, and it, in a way, I don't know, so I still like it. It's iconic.
Well, anybody who actually walks in here, I'm sure
that's the first.
Yes,
the statement.
It actually grabs your mind. Yeah. You want to look at the faces to see if you're actually used to any of them. But this is beautiful, and
and I'll tell you, every time I look at it, I see something. Oh, I don't remember seeing this before.
Yeah. Because since somebody like Michael, since he died, I try to get over, but I just can't. And anytime I see a photo of him, I'm quickly going to my phone to go look for a song of his
Yeah.
that I haven't heard in a very long time, and I'm actually happy to see this. Let me confess, this is very, very, very beautiful. Edith. Anyway, to your social life.
Yeah.
On the internet, there are a few stories on there got to do with you, the family, the children as well. Let's come home now. I can now refer to you as ex-wife of Ghanaian musician Reggy Zippy.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet him?
Oh, we met in Italy, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there for a quick tour, and then we met through a common friend.
Okay. And you became friends for how many years? And then eventually started dating before getting...
Well, it was quite, I would say, quite the young age, kind of naive.
Naive?
Not naive in the sense that you would expect a situation where you plan things, right? Whereas some things happen just like that. So we met, it was quite quick. We got together, and then we had my first son quite quick as well. So, yeah.
So let me get this. So did everything happen in a year or two?
Yeah, in a year or two, yes. Quite quick.
Quite quick. And then after the first, how did the relationship move from that stage to the next, and then eventually there are two more?
Okay, so I think we met, and during the first year, I was expecting my first son, but he was obviously living in Ghana and then doing all his music in Ghana, yeah. But he will then come and visit me once or twice a year whenever he will get the chance. So second baby on, and then we were like, you know what, we might as well decide to get married and get together. So I kind of suggested, you know what, in Italy, it will be difficult for a Ghanaian to come and live in Italy in the conditions that they are there and then settle in. I was quite settled in Italy, so for me it was home, but I was like, you know, I wouldn't want my husband at the time to feel like they are in an environment or in a situation where they cannot thrive. So I suggested, why don't I move to the UK, and then I can help you can join me in the UK as well. So that's what happened in 2010. I relocated in the UK with my first son, and I was expecting the second one, and then he joined me later on that year. And then the rest is history.
So which of his songs do you know?
Oh my God. Obviously, we were together for quite a long time, so I know most of them.
Like, should I put you on the spot? And
I don't want to do this.
no. This is somebody you've actually been with. So once he's a musician, I believe you'll be his first and number one fan, because
Oh yeah, I have been.
the music, usually, I'm a creative too, so I can relate to this, and the music actually comes from mostly when our heads is actually on the pillow, and then something comes into your mind, and then you quickly want to write it down, or you want to pick up your phone and do a verse on it quickly, and then you want to send it to a producer to work on it for you quickly. So I want to believe that you know most of his songs.
Yeah, of course I do.
So if I put you on the spot now and I ask you, should you name 3
Caleb,
songs?
please.
Which of the songs of his can you tell me?
Oh, I think everyone knows Virgin, For Sale, and Aduma.
Virgin. Do you know how to sing it?
No, I don't have a great voice.
But do you know a line or two? There may be a sorry, or pay twice a moment.
Virgin.
Oh,
You're not gonna get me singing.
no, but I mean, this is a song you've listened to. I'm sure
Yeah, of
you've
course.
actually danced to it a few times.
Of course, we were married. Of course, I mean, we were a couple. We built a family. 3 children, and it was a union. So although now although now we're divorced, that doesn't erase the
Memories.
It doesn't erase the memories, but it doesn't erase what we've built. You know, it's a bit like, you know, you build a house because you don't live there anymore. It doesn't mean that that's not your home. That wasn't your home at once. So it's just a matter of, I think, you know, taking every experience in the best way, and then realizing in my situation, realizing that it wasn't serving my purpose, it wasn't the right thing. So I chose a different path, and now that's the way it is now.
Okay. So what made you choose that path?
First and foremost, it takes, one doesn't make a decision to end 14 years of marriage easily, especially when it was a marriage that you kind of fought for. Like I mentioned to you, everything happened quite quickly at the beginning. Then there was that transition of, oh, I'm going to relocate into a different country from where I have settled, where I have everything for my family. So I've fought for the family, for the union. And I fought for it to be, as a woman, for it to be, stay together and be united. But then it gets to a point, and I'm not going to go into details into the challenges. I think every marriage has their own challenges. You know, no relationship is perfect. But it gets to a point where when you realize that the pain or the struggle of staying together is bigger than walking away, you realize that you need to make a decision.
Wow.
So that was the thought process. I had to, I think, you know, like every marriage, you get to many points within the relationship. So after 3 years, 4 years, you might, you know, face some struggles, and you might think, oh, it's enough, but you don't give up that easily. So just the fact that it was 14 years, it took a while. So it took a lot of work from both sides, a lot of understanding, a lot of effort. But then we got to a point where I think it couldn't work.
I've not been married, so there's some of the things I can't actually relate. But at what point did you just raise your hands and say, listen, I'm done?
I mean, a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened that you wouldn't want them to happen. But I had to then, personally, I had to make a choice for myself and for the children as well. So it wasn't a situation of, oh, this is not okay for me now, I'm just going to move on. No, I wasn't. I really fought for this relationship, and I really fought for the marriage, for my union, because like I mentioned before, I grew up with a single mother, and my total life aspiration was to have my own family and keep it united. So there's a lot that I've done to keep it going. But yeah, I was just at a point where I realized that I was losing myself. And with me losing myself, I didn't want my children to lose me in the process. So I had to take that decision.
Should one ask you, see if you were abused in any way? Now
there is a thing of abuse. There's different ways of abuse. Physically, I would say no.
Okay.
There is emotional abuse. There can be different other type of abuse. They're quite personal to one person.
Right.
So I would say I wouldn't want to go into details in general, because I think they're quite personal. And to be frank and honest, all these kind of public scene that has been created, for me, it has been quite unnecessary, because not only we're not the first couple that divorces,
right,
or the first, parents that decide to walk away. I just feel like situations can be handled better, better privately. But I think it has been played quite publicly, and I personally think that, like I've said, it was quite unnecessary. And I'll be honest with you, are, and I stand by it, they were quite defamatory statements. So a lot of untruthful statements, a lot of twisting realities to just paint a perception of me, the family, and the situation that it wasn't.
But I'm sure you've seen some of the commentary that he's made. One where he accused you of not giving him access to the kids, and it's one that has been on. You could see that it's been on his mind most of the time. I've seen videos of him rant on that particular topic too many times. Why are you not giving him access to his kids?
The question is, what do you mean by giving access to the children?
He wants to see them. He wants to have time with them.
Okay, and for one to have time with his own children, what is the first step to do?
Well, now he's no more married to their mother. It's really proper. He plays a call to the mother.
Exactly. So the first thing I will say is you will see a lot of videos, statements. The question is, before you go and make that video and post it, have you behind the scene called, sent a text, emailed, or made any effort?
He hasn't?
He hasn't.
He hasn't called you at all to speak to the kids?
He hasn't. To speak to the kids, it's a different situation.
But to have access to them? To
have access to them. So one thing is when you separate, and this wasn't our marital home, this is a home that I've taken afterwards. So after we separated, I moved to a different place, and then this is my current place. When two people kind of don't live together anymore, right? In that setting, the kids are with me automatically because obviously they've been left here. The mother is here. It wasn't something that we agreed, so there was no custody battle or anything. So you live far away. You live like 3.5 hours, right, away. So I feel like if you want to see the children, all you need to do is just place a call, send me a message, or send me an email, or tell me on this day I would like to see the children. Would you ever just present yourself to the doorstep without notifying?
Has that happened a few times?
And that has happened. So that happened quite a few times when we were not in good terms, and especially after many rants on social media. So I had to set some boundaries because there was a lot going on. And my boundary was, you can come and see your children whenever you want. I'm never going to stop you from seeing your children. I was a product of a broken home. I grew up with a single mother. So I will never put my children in a situation where they are maliciously prevented from seeing their father. The only thing that I'm asking is that you will respect me by letting me know when. And there had been quite a couple of times, not just a couple, a few times where I was in the house late in the evening. Someone will be knocking at the door, and who is it? It's him. You can't present yourself like that. You live hours away with someone else that I don't know. I would never come to your house like that. Even though we have children, I would never pick the children up, drive, God knows, I don't even know where exactly he lives, God knows how many hours, and leave them to you just because you're the father. I need to respect your time. I need to respect your surrounding. I need to respect the fact that you might have plans. So I feel like it is reasonable, because I've heard a lot of, she's making unreasonable demands. I think it's reasonable and fair to say, let me know in advance which days that you want to see the children. And I have emails that I've sent him. I have messages that I've sent him. And I've had, even after he's done his posting and all that, where I said, if you want to see the children, all you need to do is let me know the days that you want to see them. But you can't just turn up randomly into my house. That's not fair. And because there has been quite a lot of things between us, I was in a process where you need to think of it as, I'm a woman very dedicated to her family. You've seen, I think throughout the years, anyone that has followed us has seen how dedicated and supportive I've been. So I had to go through a divorce.
Okay.
I had to go through healing process as well. And it's not easy. So I didn't take that decision just because. I had to make the decision. So I had to go through a healing process. And mind you, through that healing process, I lost my father. And before we lost his mother, my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law was dear to me. Me and her were like close. So we've gone through different phases of losing my mother-in-law, then things going bad in the relationship. And I had to pick myself up as a woman. Because when I say I was losing myself to the point where my children were going to lose me. So I had to make that decision. So already there is a grief not being grieved completely. And in the process, I lose my dad. And my dad, I didn't have a relationship with my dad. He wasn't present in my life. I reconnected with him just a year before he passed away.
Oh, okay.
So you can imagine trauma. You lose someone so close, and in the same time, you're also breaking your marriage, your family unit. And it's not difficult only for you. It's difficult because your decision is impacting other 3 lives, the children. So it is a lot. So through it all, I just asked, you know what? I need time. You need time to sort certain things out. Respect my, how do you say, my
privacy, I should say.
my space.
Okay.
And the boundary. For some time, we don't need to communicate because what you're posting out there is too much. I am already dealing with a lot. It's difficult for a woman by herself.
Do you get hit by some of these rants he doesn't?
Do you know what? I know that they are, most of them, and I'll be honest, they are lies. They are twisted. What hurts is the fact that my children have to witness that.
They see it?
They've seen some. It got to a point where I had to ask them to block because it wasn't nice. But even if they don't see, their friends see. Everyone sees. You've seen it. And that's the first, everyone that you meet, that's the first topic. So myself and the children don't have a privacy, don't have a life, because everywhere we walk, people know. I once took my son to a football match in London, right? I was standing there and a parent from the opponent team just walked to me and said, "Oh, I've seen this about your relationship." So you can imagine how it felt. Everywhere you go, someone is asking you about it. And it's difficult. And it's difficult for me as a parent, as an adult. Can you imagine my children when they go to school and they need to overhear other people talking about them, or people asking them, what's going on with your parents?
Talking about the kids, he actually, I don't want to use the word accused, but he had said you actually incited his first son against him, and that has made the boy use some words that to him he sees it as very disrespectful.
I will say again, that's another lie, big lie. And that's the part that disappoints me, and that's the part that hurts me. Because we can be divorced, we can disagree, but going publicly to lie about me and then lie about your own son, that's disappointing and that's hurtful. So there's been situations where he's had certain conversations that he shouldn't be, as a parent, you shouldn't be having with children. Okay. Because you shouldn't be asking children certain questions, right? And our son, was never disrespectful to his dad. If you ask your son to confirm something to you, and before you ask him that, you say, do you believe in God? So you shouldn't lie, right? and you ask him, and the son is honest, telling you the truth about the way he feels, and then as a parent, you start insulting him in the worst imaginable way, and my son didn't say anything that was disrespectful to him, because he's been brought up well. Not by me only, by him as well. We've raised him well. And I think you've met him. He's a very kind, God-fearing child. What was hurtful about that is how my son was actually traumatized by the words that were said to him and the way the whole situation was twisted on social media. And that was one thing that really hurt me, because I was shocked as a father. You don't do certain things to your own son and then go on social media and turn things around on him. And as a second, let's say even if your son had said something to you that was disrespectful, does he deserve to be publicly humiliated like that?
Well,
and I find what hurts me is going on social media. I have Facebook, Instagram, and I go, and then what pops up are people posting, commenting, saying that my son is disrespectful, that it's like, I just can't understand why we are creating a situation like that for our own children. And I'm not even going to say people, because people generally tend to connect with what they see. Unfortunately, people don't realize that social media is what someone wants you to believe. Whatever is put out there is what the person wants you to believe. But if you don't have the power of discernment into sitting down and analyzing, is this right? Is this matching what was said before? Is this fair? Or even just saying, this is one account.
What's truly his relationship with the kids style? I mean, the last video I saw him make in his car, he spoke of his little girl, and of course from my father he would show love and affection for his daughter. Has she seen what's going on? Has she heard a few stuff from daddy and mommy? And as a little girl, how is she taking it?
I think, like I would say, I mean, they are okay in terms of their life and all that. Obviously, it's not ideal to have a separated situation, but all three of them, I'm not going to single anyone out, they adore their dad. They love him. And there is never a conversation in this house against their dad. It's never happened and never will happen.
Do they call him?
They don't call him, and he's not calling either.
He doesn't call them?
He hasn't called them. So I will make that clear. His eldest son. So part of the conditions that I've kind of had to, boundaries that I had to set. The first one, it was about seeing them. So it was like, if you want to see them, just let me know in advance so that I can plan my time, plan their schedule, because they go to school, they go to football, they have matches. So you can't just turn up like that. And we can plan things so that even if they need to meet their friends, at least it is your time.
Right.
So that wasn't respected. And a lot happened online. So I got to a point where I was like, do you know what? Between me and you, it's difficult to come into agreement. So let's use mediation services, which is a free service that the system, the government provides to every divorcing family. And where there is a mediator who then sits objectively and then sets the dates and the arrangement for the couple.
Okay.
So that's the option, another option that was given to him. He has refused to do that. So my thing is, if you refuse to send in advance your days, and my challenge is, Has anyone seen any evidence of him saying, I want to see the children on this day, and he has been denied? No one has seen that. And if there was something like that, he would have shown it. But rather there is, and I will show you later, there is emails, messages, and all that where I say, stop lying on social media. You know what the situation is. If you want to see them, let me know in advance. But since you go on like that, let's use the mediation services.
Well, once you mentioned email, there's one I actually picked up that you posted, and this was, I think, on the 22nd of July, where I think you sent him a message at 3:17, I don't know if AM or PM, but it says, after 2 years of consistent lies, slander, and defamation of my character on all social media platforms, this is my formal warning that I've decided to file a defamation and slander lawsuit against you. Has it gotten to that?
It has gotten to that because it's been 2 years of constant lying and attacks. And it's been 2 years where a woman who had to take a decision to walk away from her marriage, who had to deal with grieving her own dad, had to do with the kids grieving their whole father because the situation is the family unit is broken. I had to also deal at the same time with social media attacks, people attacking me, people writing me mean things, people calling me wicked. Someone exactly a year ago, sent me a DM telling me that a woman like me shouldn't even be alive. Just based on my ex-husband's account. So we talk about mental health, right? How can one person go through all this? And I'm not even going to go into details about the things that happen into the marriage, that I had to make that decision, and then have to face the public judgment like that.
Well,
and how is one person going to cope that way? Even if I was, let's say, the most inhumane person, do I deserve for strangers to attack me, to insult me, to wake up and talk about my life, my children, as if they know me? No, I don't.
I'm not.
And I'm even far from that. And who knows me, who knows both myself and him, and has been around our unit, knows that I am far from what he has been depicting.
I'm not a mental health expert, neither am I a psychologist, but can I predict you've been depressed a few times?
Me? Yes, I think everyone has been depressed.
When these things actually coming up, one too many is rant on social media, and then the commentary that you said somebody gave.
Yeah, I've had low times. There have been times where even here in this specific room, I will see certain things and I will break down. I had 2 accidents where I hit another car because of all this. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes I've had some thoughts where sometimes I will wake up, and that was more last year, because I was like, I couldn't understand why all this was happening. And there were times I was like, I don't even want to go to sleep and wake up and go open up my phone. There were times that I didn't even want to go out. My children now have kind of anxiety when we go into public places. I took them to Westfield Mall earlier this year, and they were like, it's too crowded. Because it's like everyone is looking at you. Your life is like in a magnet. And although it is virtual, but it's like everyone is like talking about you. And it's not normal. It's different if I was out there and I was putting my life out there and people are making comments, but this is someone else making statement about me and people judging me because of it. But I would say not all the commentary has been negative. We need to be fair on that. Not all the commentary has been negative towards me. I've had quite a lot of people, a few people reaching out with support, which has been great.
You mentioned your mother-in-law. What role did she play in this process when this back and forth were happening between the two of you? And I mean, how far did she go with this matter before she eventually passed?
She passed before this matter.
Oh, so can one say her passing could have led to where you guys finally got to? Because I'm sure if she was alive, she'd be one person you would actually want to go and report stuff to her.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the marriage, she was like a pillar. Yeah, definitely. She was like a source of strength for the both of us. And unfortunately, things weren't great between us before her passing. But after she passed, it just went downhill. So maybe, I don't know if she was still in our lives, potentially. But I would just say that based on the things that have happened, the situation wasn't salvageable. So that's why I had to take that decision.
So how far with the suit that you filed against him?
So what you read is my notice of intent,
Okay.
which I have filed. He has also received a cease and desist letter. But that's to prevent him from further slandering me.
Okay.
And then also to slander or say anything negative about the children, to protect their mental health as well and protect their privacy. Because in all this, we forget that the children have their own privacy.
True.
They're minors. They haven't asked for their names, for their images to be put out there on stories that are pertaining to their parents. So my main aim is protecting their privacy and then protecting their welfare and their mental health as well. My children, they're not kids. My eldest is almost 17. He has access to social media. The other one is almost 14. He has access as well. And they have a social life. And they do not deserve for their family and their life to be scrutinized that way, on that level.
So at that age, I'm sure all three are on mobile phones. So daddy can just pick up a phone and call any of them.
Yes, he can, but that is not happening. So he has had access to do that before. And I think there's been quite a few posts where I came underneath and I said, you have access to call them. You can call them, but you're not calling them. Then we're talking about the incident where he then went on social media saying that our son disrespected him, whereas it was a complete opposite thing in terms of a father saying certain things I shouldn't have said in a situation. So I personally sent him an email and I said, do you know what? Based on what has happened, I need to step in and ask you to sort certain things out before you contact them or call them in that sense. And I'm not going to mention the details, but he knows exactly what it is. And that's what a mother would do. But with that said, my son hasn't blocked him. He has rather blocked my son.
Oh, your first son?
Yeah, he hasn't blocked his dad. His dad has blocked him on social media and his number as well. So another thing is you block your son, the eldest, right? So my daughter, she does have like an iPod and all, but it's not connected to anything. So the main thing is if you want to speak to all of them, and that's what happens whenever he has spoken to them, you call the eldest and then he will pass you and you speak with all of them. But if you've blocked him and you're not calling him, Why are you going then on social media to state that I am denying you access?
When do you think all this will end?
I don't think it will end. I don't think it will end. For it to end, it will take accountability. Accountability into understanding that as an adult, if you have any concerns, you manage them privately. Accountability as well into understanding that you have children in the middle of everything. We are parents. We can disagree. We can have a heated argument, but that's between us. Let's not drag the children into it. Let's not expose the children into it. But it has gone so far that for me now, I struggle to see an end to it. So that's why I've had to resort to the law. So a year ago, I took a court order, a no molestation order, to which has different points. A point that says, do not come to my doorstep, but stay 300 meters away, meaning that you can still come and pick up your children, but just don't come to the doorstep where we will meet and have arguments, which is what is not right. Another point is, do not write negative things, harassing things, or things that are offensive about me on social media, and do not incite others to do so as well. Right? So that was the main point, to protect me on all that. We went to court on the 15th of September 2023. He didn't show up. What happened that he went into his hotel room, did a 15-minute video saying that a judge had ruled that he can no longer be in the life of his children, when the court order wasn't about the children. It was about me and his social media postings.
So he didn't come for the court's hearing. He didn't come, but he knew what was being discussed, or he had assumed.
He received my statement. Okay, so it was a long statement that was received, and then he was served, right, with the court, with the time and date, and what was stated to it on it is, you need to come to the hearing and defend yourself, or prove that everything that has been stated is untrue.
Yeah.
So that's your opportunity to come there and say, oh, that's not true that I come to her house unannounced. That's not true that maybe I'm doing certain things. Or that's not true that I am posting on social media, because what I presented to the judge is all the postings on social media.
You took shots of it?
I had screenshots of that. I had screenshots of telephone conversation, recordings of telephone conversations, messages, emails. And the no molestation is reviewed in the sense that when they receive my statement and my lawsuit, basically, if you want to call it that way, they review it. So when they review and they feel like it is strong enough or it is necessary for it to be granted, then they set up the hearing.
Okay.
So the time was set. He was supposed to be there, and if you have a lawyer, my lawyer told me, come there an hour before. And I was there an hour before, and I waited. We waited extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It was a no-show. We went in. And then, obviously, based on the evidence, it was granted. And the granting is, don't post on social media, and do not come to my doorstep, but stay 300 meters away. So anyway, regardless of everything, is nothing major that will impact anything. Because if you're not posting on social media and saying negative things about me, why should even having a court order like that be an issue? But the problem is, I was there until 40 minutes after the hearing was closed. And it was in the same town that we were living. But in his video, he said that he couldn't find the parking. The court is behind his barber. The barber that he used to shave his hair, is just, the court was behind it, next to the police station that he's visited. Opposite the supermarket where we were buying groceries every week. but you didn't present yourself. But then you go on social media and sit down there and do a 15-minute interview saying that I took custody away from you when it wasn't about custody.
In all this going on, what is daddy's responsibility towards his kids? And if there is any, is he fulfilling these responsibilities?
I will say a dad's responsibilities are many. I think, especially when you have 3 children where they go to school, they have activities. The first thing is you want to be present in their lives.
True.
So, but you live 3 hours and a half away. So how are you going to be present in their lives? So that's the first thing. I have been many times accused of preventing him to be in the children's life. But as a father, I will want you to come and pick them up and take them to school. I will want you to take them to football for me because I work full time. I have to take each one of them. They go to 3 different schools now, to their school. I need to go pick them up. I need to take them to football training, and they go to different footballs. I need to take them to their matches. I would need the dad to be present. And that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to get. And then on the financial side, that has been a battle as well. But I won't go into details because for the sake of the children and all that. But what I will address is the fact that I am not preventing him from being in the life of his children. Rather, I feel like he is preventing himself.
As a single mom of 3, how are you coping?
Oh, it's not. It's not easy. It's not easy because it is a lot. But I will say that I have 3 amazing children. They are the best in that. I think they keep me going. They're pretty much independent and they are a joy because they do well at school. So they make every sacrifice that you do for them rewarding and worth it. And it is a joy. And to be honest with you, when I was growing up, I grew up with a single mother who was busy with work. So I had many talents as well, but I couldn't pursue because my mom was busy working. And I've made it a point to always be there for them. So nothing has changed in their life. They haven't missed a football training. They haven't missed a football match. They still do everything and I do my best. And there is, like we always say, there is always a village around. So thankfully, there are a few people that do support, step in when I can't split myself in 3.
3. Wow, that's very tough. But your first son I know plays. I've watched him a few times on Instagram. I'm actually hoping and praying that he will don the Ghana jersey one day. But as a mom, would you have an interest in the decision he makes in terms of where he wants to play and which country he would want to don its jersey when it gets to that level?
I think as a mom, my role is to guide him, but also allow him to make his own decisions with his own will. And what I do is just guide him through it. So I put up a perspective. So he even recently he had a decision to make in terms of a college and in terms of football, and he might have gone on one direction, but as a mother I need to make him see the full perspective. So I still want him to make the decision because you need to make the decision based on what you think you want to do so that you don't regret, but still present him with the various options and then in a way guide him, and then he will then pick up the right choice. But yeah, I'll always be there.
Right. This I know will be a very difficult question, but let me put myself in the shoes of the most difficult person in the world and ask, would you want to marry again?
Why not? Just because a relationship didn't work doesn't mean that I couldn't be in another happier. Yeah, I would, with the right person. I mean, you never know who's the right person, to be honest with you, because I think that in my situation, we got married quite young. So we grew up as we were raising and building a family.
Right.
You don't know yourself. And now I'm at a point where as I know myself now. I know what it entails to be an adult. I've experienced marriage, you know, and no one is perfect. I can't say that in a marriage I was perfect and my ex-husband was completely wrong. That's why I decided to divorce. No one is perfect. But then, you know, that's part of life. You realize, you see where you could have done things differently, where, you know, you could have done things in a different way. And then you just learn from your lessons in general. So just because my marriage with him failed doesn't mean that I will not meet someone else and that relationship could actually go till the end of time. I don't know.
But would you attest to the fact that because of matters that have actually run between both of you, it hasn't given you that thought to say, well, let me give it a try? I'm asking this because I've been in that position where I have to move on from a relationship, and then because that chapter hasn't been closed, moving on is still
But the chapter,
a challenge.
But the chapter has been closed.
Closed now? Totally
It is closed. We are divorced. We divorced in September. September last year. That was when, end of September last year, 25th of September last year. So the chapter is closed. So that's the way I am. If it's closed, it's closed. So he's allowed to move on, and I'm allowed to move on as well. But my thing is, I try not to, and I had to go through stages of healing as well. So I went through therapy last year as well to kind of help me to manage my emotion through all the stages and everything. And one thing that I've learned is and my experience with a person doesn't mean that I will have the same experience with someone else. So the way you might treat me, I shouldn't, I will not take it as another person would treat me that way.
Okay.
The same way, the way my relation or reactions with you wouldn't be the same with another person. So I'm quite, for me is, why not? Yeah, if I meet the right person and I decide, this is the time, maybe I'm ready for it, yes, I'll do that. Nothing will, you know.